Okay, we're recording. I think it's the 13th of September, 2022. We're not quite, but about a month and a half into this. We're joined by Brian Howard. He looks like an airline captain with his headset on there. Good looking headset. Got Chuck Thomas, my good buddy from the San Francisco 49ers. I want to let you all know that we did bring in Norm Johnson onto Chuck's team. Norm was the all-time leading scorer for the Seattle Seahawks franchise. He still holds that record after many years. Been having a lot of calls with him, and we're very excited about our affiliation with all these winners, including each and every one of you. John Dickey's on the screen there, and John and his beautiful wife Sherry have been longtime leaders in network marketing. And of course, we're joined by a cast of people. We're a little low on the numbers today, but you know what? It's the beginning of the week, and people, they have a short memory. It takes 30 days to create a habit. I am contemplating cutting this back to one time a week. If it's not helpful, having it every day, there are plenty of things we could all be doing. I like to do it because it gives me a chance to get my caffeine in my body, get my day going here on the West Coast, and really get my head in the game. And I'm going to just take a few minutes on this call to really congratulate Jeff Fluck. Jeff is a platinum in the business. He is becoming rapidly a good friend. And Jeff, I just want you to take a few minutes out and, what did you do to go out and go platinum in like 2 minutes? I mean, it took you just a short time. 2 minutes is an exaggeration, guys. It took you a short time, but why don't you unmute your line and just tell everybody, what did you do? What did you say? And we'd love to hear from you, friend. And why don't you let people know, by the way, where home is for you and professionally, what your background is.
Well, thanks, Blaine, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, my home is in Beloit, Wisconsin, which is right on the Illinois border. So generally, when we flush here, it goes down to the Bears, us Packer fans, just so y'all know. But I was fortunate to have Michael Renz as a sponsor in a previous company, and he taught me a lot. My background is I've been in insurance sales. I've owned couple insurance agencies, and I sold them many years ago and retired and was volunteering around the world. And I had 52 agents working for me at one time. And it's things happen, things happen in the world. So when I met up with Michael, I met him probably 8-10 years ago. He just checked in with me every 6-12 months, asked me what I'm doing. And I was doing nutritional stuff and other stuff. And I finally got involved with him, and I did really well in our last company. And then when this came about, he says, I can't tell you what it is, but start getting your chalkboard or razor board, whatever you want to call it. So I started making a list of people, and he told me pretty much what to say. So I had a few people that were going to get in right when it launched that didn't even know what the product was. They just believed in me, and they believed in Mike. And so when I first started, took me about 6 or 7 days to get to be platinum. But I had a bit of that head start, and I didn't know what the product was, I think, till the Friday before the launch play. So and since then I've been working with my people a lot and probably focusing too much on that instead of focusing on my own recruiting. I think I've only put in 1 or 2 people since then. And like you said, I've hit a little bit of that wall. I really liked what Byron said the other night about getting to the gold mine and then not being able to dig out the gold. I kind of related to that quite a bit. So, but I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I'm really excited. I sent out some more samples in the mail this weekend, and I'm thankful for this opportunity, and I believe in the product because I used it 12-15 years ago. Also, I actually was in Florida with Andrew and Nancy and Mike. So anyway, that's all I got, Blaine. Thanks for asking me on the call.
You're muted, Blaine.
He's probably trying to fix his speakers when it's my microphone, Brian. Thank you. It's nice, good looking dude. I like that shirt you got on there, Brian. Hey, Jeff, if you, are you still with us, Jeff? Yeah, you are. Unmute your line and
Okay,
tell people in a nutshell what kind of, you've got a lot of experience with the product. You go all the way back to the mid 2000s with Andrew and Nancy. And, what is your experience with Andrew and Nancy as people? How do you, obviously you must feel good about them being in this master distributorship slash ownership role with Randy Tennant. And
yes.
tell us how you feel about that. And then also just your experience with this product that would cause you to be excited about coming back around.
Well, as I said, I was involved years ago, and I remember they had DVDs or CDs you could hand out to people, and I was in a different place financially then, so I was pretty aggressive with buying stuff to hand out, but I wasn't as good at handing it out. Okay, whereas now I'm more focused on it. But Andrew and Nancy were just great people to have on my team, and when I was in my last company. The first month I was in that company, I was the number 6 recruiter, and I had 19 days out of 30 that I was with the company. And they said, "That's really good. What can we do for you?" I said, "Well, I could use some of these products." So they sent me some products, and Mike sent me some products to kind of reward me. And they didn't have to do that, okay? But I still had all my old material from the old company when I first got in, and I showed it to him. I sent him texts, and Nancy was just laughing at it. So they're just good. They didn't have to send me product. They didn't have to, do those things for me. And she's been available for me by text once in a while. And we've had a couple chats also, but I know they're getting busier now. And, probably at a point where I could have went either way, Blaine, they were there for me. So I'm never going to forget that.
Well, that's probably a good idea just to forget that. So I want you to tell us in a nutshell, you've been around this product and you've had a lot of people you've turned on to the product. Can people that are listening to this recording or on this particular live Zoom on the 13th of September, 2022, can they count on this product being a performer for their clients?
Well, I can only tell you my experience. I had an old 86 Mercedes convertible when I was first in this company, and I just sold it a couple of years ago, and I had gas caps. I was putting in it all the time, and that sucker was a 450 SL, and I drive that thing, and it was 200,000 miles on it. And I'm telling you what, with those gas caps, the performance was incredible. I really wasn't at a point where I was checking my gas mileage, but the performance was like night and day. It was like putting a supercharger on a Mustang. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
used the caps. I used them for like 10, 11 years before, I sold the Mercedes.
Now, Jeff, I appreciate you. Platinum, you got it down. Now the key is to lay the foundation for that. I'll talk about that here on the balance of the call. If you're on this call, we cannot make income claims and we cannot make fuel savings claims because they're different with every vehicle. They're going to be different. So the number of cylinders, the horsepower of your vehicle, the maintenance of it, the fuel quality that you're using, that all can affect it. But I'd like to have Larry Alford come on, if you don't mind, Larry, and just share as a trucker what your experience has been with this product. And we've got some bad background noise here. Let's see. Let me mute my line out. And Jeff, Larry, take a moment out. Let people know what part of the world you're in right now. Now I can see you're driving and you got your seatbelt on, so you're driving that big. Tell people as quickly as you can what the results have been, what some of the benefits to someone with one of those big, expensive semi-truck tractors is. And also, I know you have cars too. So take a moment out, would you, Larry? And welcome to the webinar today.
Well, thanks, Blaine. I appreciate it. I am driving. I'm in between stops, so I've got a few miles here. In answer to your previous question about the call, I'd love to see it every day of the week or at least 3 days a week. So that's my input. Driving an 18-wheeler, been putting the gas tabs in this now for about a month and a half. I think I'm at either the 9th or 10th tank refill. And started out previously, I was getting just over 6 miles to the gallon I'm on a dedicated route, do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's about 770 some miles round trip. And very first tank, I was over 8 miles to the gallon. And the last 2 out of 3, I've also been over 8 miles to the gallon. The performance, like Jeff was talking about, the performance is really amazing. Much smoother on idling. I can definitely notice the power when I get down into the hills of Kentucky. I can tell that the power is better than it was. And the Volvo engine is known for being a highway machine, but it's gutless in the hills. But it's got more guts now, so I'm real happy about that. The other system on the newer trucks like I've got is a Dpf system. It's a diesel particulate filter. It has its own fuel injector, and that has been probably the biggest thing I've noticed is I've had absolutely zero problems with the Dpf, and that's just a normal everyday thing to have problems in that area because it's trying to burn up soot too. And so the fuel injector, obviously being clean, it's doing extremely well. And I couldn't be happier, Blaine. It's just really doing well for me. I've got a couple of cars. I can't say that the cars are doing as well.
Larry, on that diesel particulate filter, I don't know anything about these trucks other than I know how to get behind them and do the slipstream, right? And yeah, save my fuel. But I want to ask you something from a professional trucker standpoint. What is the maintenance kind of hassle, downtime, and expense if you have that diesel particulate filter getting clogged up because of inefficient burn?
You can do a standard cleaning of the filter itself for $500. If there's no problems with the filter, that's pretty much it. But there's a couple other items. There's 2 modules and another oil coalescing filter that are part of that system. They can get gummed up when things are not, moving correctly. And I spent about $3,000 about a year and a half ago on this system.
It could be expensive, and also it can lead to downtime and delays. I understand that if that filter gets plugged, your problem is going to be, in particular, getting up some of those grades that you're trying to get over. I think it was you that actually said sometimes, and I never knew that all these years, that you'll drive up a freeway grade somewhere and you'll see the semis on the side out on the border going 5-6 miles an hour. Do you mind commenting to that?
Yeah, there's a thing called derating, and if you get plugged up, it'll tell you generally you've got like 60 minutes, and then you'll be derated at 5 miles an hour. So if you can get somewhere and do what's called a regen, get off the road, and the system will do that for you. But if you don't, you may be stuck on the side of the road moving 5 miles an hour or waiting on a tow truck.
Yeah, so as an independent contractor, independent owner operator, or even a corporation that's got a fleet, this is expensive downtime when you've got schedules and delivery commitments that have been made. So tell us about your cars real quick, and then we'll jump into our 15 minutes of training.
I've got a 2016 Chrysler Town and Country van. It's increased a little bit, but we do all in-town driving. I need to really get it out on the highway. So not too much to report on that one, but the Cadillac's an interesting car. It has a known history of having problems getting plugged up, and it goes through oil, gas mileage goes way down, and we're seeing much better performance and less oil burn, increased mileage on the Cadillac. So I'm very happy about that.
All right. Hey, Larry Alford, we need to connect when you're back home. We need to get you with Nancy. You're going to be featured on a company video, if you like. And you're such a good looking guy. We'll be proud to have you come forward and represent the team, my friend. So we're very thankful for our association with you, as we are with everybody. But it's nice to hear that directly from the mouth of an owner operator. So give Larry a big hand, everybody. We appreciate him. And listen, how you doing on your progress in the business? Do you feel that you're moving along at the pace you want? Do you want to pick it up? What are your thoughts about that?
Definitely not moving as fast as I want to. There's been some other items in my life going on, but nevertheless, things are moving just slower than I want. And you know, we'll get there. By the way, I'll be home tomorrow evening.
Well, good things can take a while. Just ask any pregnant woman in her third trimester, right? It's never moving along quick enough. So it's just keep staying the course. Get your notepad. Note takers are money makers. Get your notepad. I'm going to get into a teaching topic, and I'd like to do this real quick, just by a show of hands on the screen. Who would like to see this call remain daily? I don't mind doing it. It's not an imposition to me. And I'd rather train 20 or 30 or 40 people than one at a time. But how many of you would like to see this call remain daily and you feel that you get enough value out of it? Just raise your hands on the screen if you'd like that. It's universal. I don't know, Andy, what do you think? I can't see your on the screen, your pictures. You want to keep it daily, or would you prefer to see it more infrequently?
There's only 16 people on.
Yeah, thank you, John. There's 16 people John is announcing. Okay, so listen, I don't care if there's 5 people, to be honest. I never worry about the numbers. I like to keep myself focused on the quality of people. I'm looking at the people on the screen. I look at Brian Howard over there as an example out in Ohio. I have a firm confidence that Brian is going to end up booming through to platinum and onto Ruby in a reasonable short time. Justin Dykes on the screen, you see him there. He's flexing for everybody because he's showing us that bicep. It looks more like an arm coming out of your sleeve than a leg coming out of your sleeve. But hey, Justin has become a good friend of mine. And here's a guy, you talk about a story. I need somebody's communicating on the line. I think your line might be open. Let me just double check here real quick. Yeah, there's a line that's open. Okay. Listen, I don't mind. I'm going to just do a little housekeeping if I can, then I'll come back to Justin. When you come on the webinars, please do not take this as me being harsh or mean-spirited, okay? When you come on a webinar, be aware if your camera is on. A lot of times people, they don't realize their camera's on, and I've done the same thing, but you know, I had a guy once on a webinar that was sitting behind his desk. He didn't realize his camera is on. He stood up right in front of the camera and he was getting dressed. And it was a little embarrassing. He was, you know, he had to put his pants on, lip his fly up. And I thought, that's a little too much information, right? Would you agree? But we've had people that have walked into the bathroom with their phone. They didn't realize their mic was open. So we got to hear them do their business and flush the toilet. And something that I don't know how many of you, when you're sitting and eating with someone and they're eating in front of you and they're chewing with their mouth wide open, the food's kind of hanging out. How many of you struggle with that? I do. I think it's how we were raised at our kitchen table. So listen, if you're on the webinar, if you're going to be eating lunch or breakfast or whatever, it's not a problem. Just kick your video off, and you can do it right on the screen. Just kick the video off until you're done. I think everybody else would probably appreciate it. Okay. So I hesitate to have these kind of conversations, but we're in the early stages. I guess it's all about leadership development, isn't it here? And talking to people about protocols and all that. Now let's talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is to build momentum into your business. How many of you want to build momentum into your business? I was talking about Justin Dykes, and I want to tell you a little story about Justin. Justin is in fact, Justin, I want you to unmute your line if you don't mind. Get that good Java down your throat. Right. And I want you to take a moment out as quickly as you can. I know it's a long story, so in a minute and a half, you didn't get the full house cards dealt to you as a young guy. You had a little bit of a physical issue, didn't you?
A little bit.
Tell us about that real quick.
I've been paralyzed from the waist down since I was 2 years old.
Paralyzed from the waist down since you were 2 years old.
So to me, I mean, I've been this way my whole life, but you know, dealt with issues with that, you know, bullying in school and whatnot. But I made the best of it. You have to make the best of what cards you get dealt, even if they are, you know, all jokers, I guess.
Well, you are certainly a joker. I have a lot of fun talking to you and carrying on with you. And I had the privilege of personally sponsoring Justin. I've got a real heart for this young guy, but you're married, you got kids there at the house and all that. Tell us about that. You got a special needs child right there at the house.
Married. Me and my wife are raising her 4 grandkids. One who's autistic, who's
You muted your line by accident, Justin. Your line, there you go. Say it again. One is autistic.
right now. So that's taking a lot of my time right now during the day because I got to help him do his college work because you don't understand, a lot of big words and what's expected of him. So
Yeah, so you and your wife are taking care of this young adult autistic gentleman, and he's going to college, and you're getting him set up for opportunity in life. But one thing that really stuck out for me, Justin, is that your iron will, your don't quit attitude. Listen, I and many of us on here were so blessed with all of our physical faculties and abilities, and yet here you are, paralyzed from the waist down, never played a down of football, never played on a basketball court outside of maybe a wheelchair event. And but you didn't get to compete in traditional competitive athletics in junior high school, and yet you kind of chose a vocation that I thought was very interesting. What is that vocation?
I've been coaching football for 23 years.
Yeah, you've coached some championship teams, haven't you? So all I'm saying is that if the dream is big enough, the facts simply don't count, do they?
No, they don't.
And Justin, I want to ask you something. Are you thankful to be a part of MPG and a part of this team?
I'm thankful every day. You and I have talked quite a lot, and I'm blessed to have you in my life at this point. I think it's a good thing. I think we got a good thing going here. I think it could make a lot of dreams come true.
Well, we're going to do that. So Justin, thanks for joining us out of Southern California. We appreciate you. Go out and what's the name of your team, by the way? What's their mascot name?
The Sultana Sultans.
The Sultana Sultans. All right. Well, go Sultans, and we're proud of you. Give Justin a big hand, everybody. He's going to be a guy that when we see him go platinum and ruby and diamond and become financially independent, he's going to be a very, very important part of our life. So grab your pen. We're going to go now and jump into teaching. The teaching is so simple in this that what we just did with the testimonies, in my view, is about 85% of what we do. I think I talked to you about the landing page, so we're going to return to that. But before I do, the way that you get unstuck, when you build your business, it ebbs and it flows. It's like the tide. It comes in and it goes out. And every time the tide comes in, when it goes back out, it carries most of the debris with it, but it always leaves some behind, right? Anybody's ever been to the ocean or a big lake that has a lot of movement know that. But at the ocean in particular, you'll see it come in and then the tide will go out and it'll leave some kelp or seaweed or whatever. Takes most of it back with it. That's how building your business is. It surges and then it retreats. It's like a spring. You compress it and then it expands. That's the whole point. A spring doesn't work if you don't compress it, does it? You gotta press it down and then it expands. So it's like that in your business. And I want you to think about this for a moment. When do people slow down? They slow down when their business slows down. But the action of your business is like that tide. It comes in, and then when it draws back out, when it's slowing down, it leaves a little behind. And to get it to come back in again, of course, God makes the tide come in and out. You don't have much to do with that. But in your business, you are the master over your business. And I want to tell you something, that what causes the tide of your business to come in, and when it comes in and it starts to retract, it'll leave 2 or 3 people or 4 people. It's just predictable, unless you aren't treating people well. And even if you are treating people well, some will, some won't. So what next? You got to get to the point where you realize that you can't control people. You can't babysit people. You can't drink for people. You can't eat for people. You can't go to the potty for people. And you can't be ambitious for people. Your job as a leader is to stretch vision, and motivation and inspiration are very important. But the best way to inspire people is let them see the example in you. If you're sitting in park, not recruiting people, not building anything, not excited, and you're speaking out of your mouth things that are not forward-thinking, dynamic, and exciting, you're not setting a really good example. And I'm going to tell you, that's probably the way it is with most of us. I mean, sometimes in the lull of the battle, it's hard to speak affirmatively through that because deep inside, our belief system may not be up to par yet. You got to build a strong belief system. You got to be willing to speak the positive report in spite of the circumstances. Does that make sense to everybody? Just nod your head, wave your hand, whatever. So what you've got to do is no matter what it feels like, no matter what you're seeing, you've got to speak those things that you're not seeing, in fact, as if they already are. I'm a champion, I'm a platinum, I'm a ruby, I'm an emerald, I'm a silver, I'm a gold, whatever that next goal is, you've got to speak it. And don't speak it in the future tense, I'm going to be, because the brain functions like an inanimate computer. If you say, I'm going to be, it says in its robot brain head, it says, that's in the future. So sometime in the future, I'll make that happen. I'm going to tell you something. Someday is today. You've got to speak it as if it is already. I am a ruby. I am. And when you do that, it's my counsel, and you do this how you feel comfortable, but I don't think you should set something out there so far that you're battling yourself internally. Well, I don't know if I can do it. I'm not sure. Set the next level. Go peak to peak. There was a great minister that built a crystal cathedral. Great story by Robert Schuller that came out from Oklahoma or somewhere in that part of the country out to LA and built a massive church. But he started preaching on top of a drive-in theater concession stand, an abandoned drive-in theater. And he had a little PA system, and he got out there and he had the drive-in theater. I mean, it was innovative at the time. And he built the Crystal Cathedral, which is an amazing church down in Southern California. But he started out with those humble beginnings, but he spoke about where he was going all the time. And I'm going to say that some of you in this maybe have tried network marketing and failed, struggled, not done well. And there's a program inside of you that you might get just right up to the goal line and then fumble the ball. You might just get up to that level of platinum and then things are going to fall apart. There could be a program inside you, and you've got to overrun that program. You got to code back over that program. You got to do a write over. And even if it doesn't resonate with you, you've got to speak that you want. How many of you want to be financially independent, honestly? I recommend it highly. I will tell you, I live on a 20-acre ranch up here in Idaho, backed up against the forest land, and network marketing put us in a position to own all this, pay cash for it, to not have debt, to not have to go do something to make a check, to be able to take care of the family, to be able to travel, to do the things we want. I recommend it highly. I can still remember when I had to get up early, go to work, and struggle every day to make a go of it. And I've had times where there's been things that I made some bad investments, even in the recent years, and I had to figure out a way to get back out of those holes. And I just have gone back to the basic. You get to that point where you're saying, "Oh my God, does this ever end?" The answer is no, it never ends. This thing of achievement always requires struggle before achievement, right? It always requires it, no matter how young or old you are. You're not going to be exempt. When you set off on a journey to accomplish something again, you're going to go through a struggle. So I want to encourage you, honestly. And if you're in this at MPG and things aren't seeming to happen for you, they're happening for a lot of other people. You do know that, right? You saw the recognition webinar on Saturday. If you didn't see it, go on the Facebook page. It's up there. You can watch it. But listen, there's a double diamond, there's a triple diamond, there's 3 emeralds, there's, I don't know how many rubies, there's a number of rubies, there's like 40 some platinums. It's working. You understand that, right? This is working. And don't fall into that mode where you say, yeah, it's working for them, but what about me? That's a victim mode. You got to move into, if it works for them, it will work for me. God is no respecter of man or woman. If it works for someone else, it'll work for you. All you have to do is find out what they're doing. And that's the purpose of these calls. Does that make sense? I'm just doing a little fine tuning of the screws in your thought process, in your psyche, because the game is won between the 6 inches. It's not just the action. Your action will be the revealer of what's going on up in your thoughts and in your heart. Does that make sense to everybody? So sometimes people say, I wish you just give me the 3 steps so I could be successful. I give you the 3 steps. I'm going to give them to you in 20 seconds. But you just simply will not do them persistently and consistently. You'll cop an at it. I'm not talking to anybody directly right now. Please understand that. I'm not talking to anybody directly right now. I'm just going to say many people, because they don't have this organized right, connected to the heart, they need to understand the heart needs to be the driving force, not the brain. The brain is cynical, critical, and always has these questions. I think the brains were created in Missouri, the show me state. The heart is what needs to drive it. And the heart has a passion for achievement. You've got to find a way to build the juice of the heart up to take control over your brain, and then have the heart be the master, the dream be the master, telling the brain what it is supposed to do. Put that computer to work. It's powerful. So let's wrap up with this. There are 3 steps to build this business. And one is to have contacts. Okay, the first step, well, prior to the first step, have your dream, have your goal. We'll do this on a call in the next few days. We'll talk about vision boards, goal setting, and all that. It's very, very critical. If you're highly analytical, when people talk about the dream, it can be offensive to you, to your sensibilities. I get it. So I don't want any of that loosey-goosey motivation. I've never met a football player or an athlete that didn't get fired up before an event. Some of them look calm, some of them look like wild men. But I've never met a competitive athlete that did not get fired up before a competitive event. You understand what I'm saying? You got to get the fires burning inside of you. And if you're a person that's calm, laid back, overly analytical, I'm going to just say you got to let that wild Tasmanian lion out of you. You got to let that beast of achievement come out of you. It's okay. It's okay to do that. It's not going to eat you. It's going to eat the adversarial conditions that are holding you back. That's what it's going to do. So let's think about this for a moment. You want to build this so you get your dream. Your dream. Tomorrow I'm going to focus on the dream, and I may have I'll probably do what I could do every day. Have a couple of people talk about that, and then I'll come on. But you got to have the dream. Once you have the dream, remember, this is a recruiting enterprise. You're either gathering ISRs, independent sales reps, or you're gathering customers. I recommend you go after gathering ISRs, and the ones that decide to not be an ISR, you convert them to a customer. But you can go after customers and then convert them up to ISRs. It is a more challenging proposition. It takes longer, but there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to have a lot of customers either way. We're going to be a strong retail model. So you go out and you have contacts. So what do you need? You need to have a big name list. A big name list. We have 4 more minutes, just so you know. Big name list. Big name list. You can build that name list out of your phone. Everybody's got one of these devices. Most people have 300 to 500 names in their phone. And there's no law that says you can't call them. Did you know that? There's no law that says you can't call them. You call every one of them, whether you know them or not, and say, you know, I've got your number in my phone. I want to just say hi to you. I haven't talked to you perhaps ever or in a long time. And I just felt like I wanted to call and see how you're doing. If they're rude and rough, just say, I'm sorry for bothering you. Get off the phone and maybe take them out of your phone unless they're the person holding your parents' inheritance for you. But if they're pleasant, just say, listen, I'm glad I got to make this contact. This has been very nice. What do you do? And then you can approach them, right? So you have a big list of names in this, but also there are people you know from high school, from college, from the jobs you've been on, from your neighborhood, from civic groups, from the Army, from the military, from whatever. take a notepad and I do this over and over and over again. You probably can't see that. It's got all these names on it, right? This was my first list I put together. Sean Curran, Mark Campese, Darren Crash, John O'Sullivan, Tommy Sirigliano, Bonner Cummings, Jeff Wayne, John and Sherry Dickey, Terry Lynn, Rebecca Willingham, Rick Garland, Terry Norcraft, Andrew, and I made this list. I had this list. I had 2 or 3 of these. It had about 90 people on it. And I just started calling them. I said, listen, I haven't talked to you in a while. Just want to see how you're doing. I got a project I'm doing. I want to see if you're open. That's all I said. Some of them said no, and some of them said yes. Out of that list of 100 people, it was 85 people, I believe. I recruited 23 of them by just calling them and saying, I haven't talked to you in a while. So you got to have a contact base, right? The next thing, once you have a contact base, you've got to share with them something. You got to share something with them. So the first step is have a contact list and make contact. Okay. How would you like to tomorrow to talk specifically about approach lines that you can use that are quite effective? Anybody would like that? Okay, we're going to do that tomorrow. Contacting people is a real big deal without turning them on. Without turning them off. Okay. So now you've got the contact list, you do an approach. So the contact and approach is all one thing, but you got to have a big list to do it, right? So get busy about meeting people. You could go right into town. You go right into town, you could stop by every shop, store, insurance office, mortgage office, whatever, walk in and say, I just wanted to meet the manager. Manager comes out, says, hi, I'm Blaine Williams. I've never been in your office. Have you got a business card? That manager is going to give you a card in 2 seconds. That's why they spent the money to get those cards. Get their card and say, well, great, nice talking to you. I don't care what they say. Mortgage people are struggling right now. Real estate people are concerned right now. People in finance are concerned. Some people in financial planning are doing well because people are concerned so they can capitalize. And I see John O'Sullivan, who's a brilliant mind in that area. But you collect those cards, you go to the car dealerships. Don't go to the janitor. You can if you want. Go to the sales manager, go to the GSM. Listen to me, every no is the same. If someone that is a low performing person says no to you, or a person that's the top of a company, a CEO says no to you, it's the same. But trust me, every yes is not the same. Every yes is not the same. You understand what I'm saying? But you can't get a yes if you're not willing to get a no. If you're going to try to protect yourself, you're not going to get no's. So the more no's you get, the quicker you're going to be to a yes. So the next thing is to share something with somebody. How do I do that? I just ask them. I got a project I'm putting together. It's helping people with fuel expense and also helping people create some great secondary income. I've got a little 4-minute video. Would you like to watch it? I've got a little short 4-minute video. Would you like to watch it? I've got a short little 4-minute. It says short. Did you hear that? If I say I've got a video, how many of you I've got a video that I'm going to watch here today. It's 1 hour and 35 minutes. How many of you understand most videos are long? Yes, no, come on, help me out. I'm by myself here. I need a little help from the audience, right? So if you end up telling them it's a short video, that's good. But if I say little short video, what does that think? What does that make the mind think? Quick. Or you could say quick. I got a quick short video. That's not bad either, right? 4 minutes. How many of you would, if I told you I've got a video to watch, would think something, but if I said I've got a quick, short 4-minute video, would realize I can watch that pretty easily? Raise your hand. So use that. That's a tool. Please use it. Now, let's wrap this up. You share. What do you share? I'm going to tell you, I share always the 2 videos that are on the landing page. They're also right on our YouTube channel. You don't need to get the landing page. Those of you that asked to get a landing page, I sent an email out to you today on what I need to set it up. And if you want the landing page, I'll show it again tomorrow. But those of you that put your orders in, we're setting those up today, just so you know. Okay, Brian and others. And if you haven't seen the landing page, I'm going to end this webinar. I'll bring the landing page back up to show you again. And I'm going to show you the different selections that we have. We have some options. I got a lot of help from Chuck Thomas on that. I appreciate that very much. He had some great ideas. So now when we take a look at this, we approach them and we share the two videos. Why do I share both videos? I do not share my MPG Extreme website. I don't. I control the point of contact by letting them see what I want them to see. Why? Because I'm the professional. I'm in charge. You're the professional. You're in charge. If they go to the MPG Extreme website, they may not like the color. They may not like this. They may think that, okay, they got this product. They want me to go out and knock on doors and sell the product and make a decision before they even really understand what we're doing to not move forward. I've got to respect your time and end this. So we'll carry this into tomorrow. I'm going to just finish and wrap up this. You share the videos and then you need to follow up. It's best to follow up with a text than a phone call. The reason is that that's when the questions will start coming up. And I will tell you, human nature tendency is that you're going to want to start answering questions. Who is here willing to admit that when someone asks you, well, how does it work? You start wanting to answer how it works. Come on, true confessions. I can only absolve you if you admit it. So when they say, how does it work? My answer is great. How's it work? It works great. Do you think they really want to know the neutronic, biochemical, mechanical, chemical, engineering specs of the product? Listen, I got to buy a new refrigerator here. I talked to a sales guy, he was telling me all that stuff. And I said, listen, is it going to keep my stuff cold in the fridge and frozen in the freezer? And what's the warranty? I said, I don't need to know any of that stuff. You guys can take care of that. Most people don't want to, even the ones that ask for that, they don't want to know it. So what do you say? They say, how's it work? It works great. It works great for everybody that uses it. I want to answer your questions. I'm short on time right now. So I like to use a text and I just ask them, did you watch the videos? Would you like to learn more? If the answer is yes, I get them to one of the company calls. I get them to a recorded presentation. We're doing a new recorded presentation on the plan, on the presentation of the company, and also on the pay plan. We're recording that this week, just so you know, and we'll have it up on the Dream Team. And it'll be quick. It'll be on point. It'll be, I think, compelling. But you share that with them, or in my opinion, in a superior fashion, get them on a three-way with someone that knows how to close. If you've got someone that gives all kinds of answers, all kinds of talking, but you get off those calls, nobody's getting closed, bring them to Coach Blaine's University and we'll teach them how to close, okay? Or teach you how to close. The last thing is you now follow up and start up. That's what we'll carry into tomorrow. We'll expand on this and we'll follow up. I'm going to show the landing page. So anybody that at this point would like to drop off, by all means do it. Please promote this call. I think it's going to help us to go into duplication. Thank you for those of you that shared on this. Justin and Larry, thank you. Did you want to ask something, Jeff? Are you saying goodbye or are you going to ask something? Okay. I'm going to show you the landing page. If you didn't order it, if you'd like to see it, fine. I'm not here a shill trying to sell landing pages. And if anybody says, oh yeah, they're selling those tools to make money, I'm telling you, there's a cost in setting those up, number one. But secondly, I've got enough margin in there that we're going to be able to take the videos and put up either a Vimeo or a Wistia account. So when they go to the videos, they don't see all that other advertising from YouTube. How many would like to have your videos in an environment that they're not getting bombarded with a bunch of other stuff? Who would like that? Those accounts aren't free. So when you see that, if we start doing stuff, we'll never be jamming you up with ultra expensive pricing, but there'll be a little extra money in everything we do so we can put things out there that are helpful to you. And listen, if you don't want the stuff, you don't need it, you don't feel you need it, we're not interested in trying to get you to get something that's not going to help you, but most of you do. I'm going to show that for those of you that want. If you guys want to get off this call right now, go ahead and drop off. But some of you probably want to see it. So just bear with me. Okay, I think that might do it. Let's see here. Okay, Brian, you guys that did order will get this in your email. If you decide to order, this will come to you in an email. And these are the different schematics that you have. So you can pick any one of these layouts, A through F. It's a subjective thing. Chuck Thomas gave a great tip on this one layout B. He said, what about a marbleized background? I like it. There's one there in blue and there's one in green here. I've got the more kind of plain vanilla blue one here. I did one here with patriotic. I think some people will like that. So you can pick any one of these out. The setup fee is $40 for the layout, setting up. If you have a domain name already, you don't need to just give us the name, but we're going to teach you how to take your domain name. It might be a GoDaddy, it might be at another place, how to forward it to your page. If you don't have a domain name, you can go get one, or you can submit 3 options and we'll pick one up for you. And these will be hosted at Wix. And no, we won't host them in other places. It'll be at Wix. My guy, that's just who he uses, so it makes it simple. Now, if the company comes out with a landing page in the future, there'll be a setup fee on this of $40. There is a charge with Wix of $16 a month. You're going to pay that directly to them. It's month by month. So if the company comes out with something super duper duper, and I'll have some input on that, I'm sure, then you'll be able to just drop this. But in the meantime, most of you realize that I'm going to see if I can find the landing page. Well, I'm not going to go into it, but if someone clicks this, watch the video, it takes them to a form that they put their name, phone number, and email in, and that will come to you. So if you share this with somebody, and don't go into a bunch of explanation, your goal is to get them to watch the little videos, right? That's your goal. So if you talk about all of it, they have less of a reason to watch the videos. So when they fill that form out, that will come to you, and that'll take them to the 3rd page, which will have the 2 videos. It has the 4-minute, really the opportunity video, and then it has the 7-minute Kevin Hunter video that talks about how the product works. The minute you get that hit on your deal, you want to send them a text and say, I see you're checking the videos out. Would you like to get some more information? If the answer is yes, then set that up, a call with an upline. I'm happy to do calls for you as I'm able to and help you present and close those people. And then your downline, if they get this page, you can run the same system with them. So you have prospects who have been exposed to what we're doing, and they're the most peak. So any questions on this? If you have a question, fire away. Can you guys see that on the screen, Brian? Nod your head if you can see those options. Okay. So let's wrap this up. Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? I'm trying to get you back on the screen here. For some reason, it's not cooperating with me. Jeff, go ahead, Jeff, unmute your line.
Blaine, how do we get a hold of you again?
Yeah, coachblaine@gmail.com. Coachblaine@gmail.com. You can also Facebook private message me, but I prefer the email. I'm not the most active, involved social media on the planet. Sometimes it'll go 3 or 4 days that I don't see those things. But if you send an email, I check that 3, 4, 5 times every day. And so you got that Coach Blaine, BLAINE, there's an E on the end of my name, and at gmail.com. And also, if you do get it and you're struggling with using it, obviously we're going to help you. We're going to work with you. You pay the $40 setup fee. You're not going to pay for coaching and training and all that stuff. My interest is giving you a tool that can empower you to grow your business. Okay, any other questions? I'm looking right now to try to get the screen back up and I'm struggling with that for some reason. Well, I guess I'm SO, whatever they call it. All right, so here we are, full screen. Well, you guys are out of luck. If you have questions, ask them tomorrow or send me an email. Goodbye, guys. It's been good to be with you. Sorry for the long deal here. I cut this back to half an hour and I get back up to 45, 50 minutes. I guess I'm a 45, 50-minute kind of guy. What can I say? Apologize. Pray for the gift of brevity, would you? Talk to y'all tomorrow. And listen, in the meantime, get that list built, get those dreams laid out, and start to approach people. And if any of you are struggling with approaches or whatever, send me an email. I'll communicate with you. I don't care if you're on Mike Dew's team or if you're on Michael Wren's team, you're not in my downline. It doesn't matter to me. I'm here to help. You know why? When the tide goes up, all the ships rise with it. Okay. So thank you for being here today. We're going to end this webinar on a good note. Talk to you tomorrow.